some people just gravitate towards every next big event in their life. Like some of the zombies, bro. And I've been like this. Everyone I think has been like this to a certain degree, but some people will experience something. They'll sort of go through the motions. They'll experience something in their life, and then they'll wait until the next big event in this sort of artificial timeline of how a human life is meant to progress. At least sort of in the Western world, for people that actually have, like education and all these typical things for someone who, has a decent amount of money. You go through primary. Well, I'm in Australia. American substitutes, just put them in. You go through primary, you go through secondary, you graduate, you go to university, you eventually meet someone, I suppose, along the way, perhaps start a family, you work a job, a career, perhaps a career you enjoy, you have some hobbies along the way, and then you retire, and then you die. And grandchildren, hopefully, like along the way somewhere. I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently, and certainly a lot of people will live that way, and they will live satisfied and fulfilled lives, and that's not the problem that I see, at least. I think the problem is, I don't think there's any choice in the matter. I almost feel like if you're not a philosopher about your own life and your life trajectory, then you're actually approaching life wrong, incorrectly. Maybe that's a really arrogant thing for me to say. I don't know, but I don't know. If you're not thinking about why you're pursuing the things that you are in your life, why your life is headed the way that it is, then I think you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I think there is so much value in just asking yourself, like, why is family even important? Why is this something I ought to pursue? Just sort of basic existential questions like that, Why ought it be the case that I would value and pursue a life partner or marriage or, I don't know what else, an education, a career. Obviously some things aren't really, well, I mean, I'll have something to say about this in a sec, but some of these things perhaps you don't have much choice in just because you require them, or you're forced into them, like early education, obviously you don't really have a choice. But even then, I don't know. This is sort of the dilemma, and this is why I think we need to be philosophers. We need to be thinking about our lives and why we're doing what we're doing, because you have to live according to values, and you have to live. Like, there's no choice where you can sort of delay and not take action in whatever domain it is. You have to live according to your values, and your values have to be instantiated. They have to be put in place, because you'll live by them regardless, right? If you live at all, if you choose to do something, you have some sort of value. Like, you value something, you have some hierarchy of values of some sort. If you live to any degree, unless you're sort of just standing still and die, which no one does. So, you value something. If you aren't a philosopher, and that's the term I'm using, but you can say, you can substitute. If you're on a thinker, if you're on a critical observer of your own life, then you are not in control of it. Like, you are you're not an autonomous force. Like, you are an observer to your own life. You're a spectator to your own life passing you by. And I think we can get really existential about it, because some people will, I think, push back on that, perhaps rightly so. You get to choose your career, you get to choose who you end up with, that type of thing, choose to have a family. But even those existential decisions, those life-defining decisions, to have a family, to prioritize love, even if we make it abstract, if you're willing to grant that, Like that is, you can choose not to do that. And I think if you're going to choose to do that, you should have a good reason. I think there should be some level of forethought even into grand decisions like, well, certainly into grand decisions like that, you know? It's not something that you just let happen because that's the natural course that everyone sort of takes. You know, I suppose people say it all the time, like there's so much value in being different, but, you know, I think we have brains for a reason. I think we have intellect. We have the insane capacity to reflect on our own life, and make decisions accordingly, change things up. I think is an incredible gift that, you know, you can flounder and waste if you choose not to be existentially curious about your own life and your own decisions and positions and trajectory, direction. So that would be my encouragement, to think about it, you know. And it may very well be the case that you actually want to start a family because you value love, I suppose. I don't know, whatever it is. I think whatever your philosophical conviction is, live with that conviction. Like grab that philosophical conviction by the reins, you know, live by it. I think it's a tragedy to live a philosophically unconvicted life. Live philosophically convicted. And if you live it and you regret it, you can change. You know? Or if you can't change, at least you've determined that a certain course of action probably wasn't the right way to go. Don't live in the ambiguity. You know, being on the fence, I suppose. It's probably a succinct way to put it. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Live convicted. Yeah.